Well, I'm ready if you're ready.
Sure.
Okay. Let's get this show on the road. We can get to bed at a decent hour.
Well, you might be able to.
We'll find out why Kidder might be staying up late later, after the podcast. Until then.
In a world where every Rob, Steve, and Lane has a podcast, two good brothers will try to rise above the rest. Howard Blues and the Mark Kidder invite you to pour a cold beverage, pull up a seat, and enjoy time with friends. Welcome to Beer, Blues, and BS.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Beer, Blues, and BS, the podcast that's less annoying than a door-to-door salesman who's clearly making up, lies and other bullshit to try and scam you into buying a security system you don't need. I'm your host, Howard Blues, here, as always, with my co-host, the man, the myth, the legend, the Mark Kidder. Kidder! How you doing tonight?
My security system is Law and Order and Smith & Wesson. So I'm doing all right. It's Friday. This is time for us to get together, have some fun. And it's the end of a week. So that's good. Very exciting. How about you and your Star Wars shirt there?
It's been a week, Kidder, as I always say. It's been a week. Glad the week is over, because there's been a lot of annoyance in my week, Kidder, which I will dive into. But I mean, first and foremost, I did have a guy come to my door trying to sell me a security system, and he just would not take the hint. And we were trying to leave. We had somewhere to go, and he's just like, da 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 da. I'm like, I really don't. Well, I'm in the neighborhood. Now, Kidder, I kind of almost think that this guy was trying to scam people because, he felt the need to drop my neighbors' names. Like he was some sort of legit guy. He's like, well, I've been talking to Ken and Pete. Have you been hearing what's going on in the neighborhood? No. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And he dove into stuff like that, but then he starts into his, we're with the security system. We mostly saw things like the video camera doorbells. I'm like, I have one of those. I haven't hooked it up yet. We moved in recently. Oh, where'd you move from? Town. Oh, yeah. Who's is yours with? We have a Ring system. I'm planning on putting it up this weekend. Oh, man. Have you heard? Those rumors are true. They are selling your videos, on the internet. Okay. Somebody really wants video of my driveway. Okay.
Very exciting. They might catch a glimpse of the murder bird.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's who you should have told him that your house is protected by the murder bird. And he didn't get that nickname for nothing.
But then he, he's like, okay, well, and I told him, we're trying to leave, Well, maybe I'll stop by later and talk to you and the missus. No, please don't. I see your orange car over here, and that's in the driveway. So if I see that in your driveway, I'm guessing that means you're home. What's your other car look like? The other car's in the garage, and you will never see it. And now you won't see mine, because now we're parking both of them in the garage as a big, giving the finger to this guy who just would not take the hint. So he's either a scammer or he's just a really annoying salesman. But either way, Kidder, it just ticked me off because it's the kind of weirdos I end up having to deal with on a regular basis.
Real life and digital world, it just continues and continues. And you should have just called me because I probably wasn't doing anything, and I would have been happy to forcibly I guess, shall we say, export him from the property. I was going to say remove or expunge or, a smattering of other words, but wouldn't have had to use too much force. Like, leave. Yeah.
So that's just one of a great series of stories I have for you tonight, Kidder. So,
Oh, great. Well, before we get to all of those, we need to do two things. One of those being tell you about our website, beerbluesbs.com, our Facebook page, search Beer Blues and BS, the YouTube page, search Beer Blues and BS, the audio versions on iHeartRadio, Pandora, Spotify, and more, search Beer Blues and BS, or just go to beerbluesbs.com and find all of them, including our merch store, where you can get some awesome merchandise, including pint glasses and sweatshirts and t-shirts and things. Maybe we'll have to make a design of no means no, or great, I see that you're a traveling salesperson, leave now or forever hold your peace.
I think we need to I was going to go more on your whole like protect this house protected by the murder bird. Like we need to make that like a parody of like the home security companies like logo and such, do that. This home
Too hard because they're all pretty much about the same.
Yeah. I think we should do that at some point.
It's a very good idea.
I think so. We'll just have to
drink
get
on it.
Yes.
So what's on tap tonight, Howie Blues? Do you have any other drinks that you need to drink before we drink a good drink? Or do we just go into the good drink?
I say go into the good drink, and we'll see if we get to the other drink. Which also, Kidder, the episode that posted tonight just happens to be the one where I drank a White Claw. And my sister-in-law and I have maybe been commenting back and forth on Facebook about the quality of White Claws and whether or not it was truly worse than the Pabst Hard Coffee I had on the show. So it's been a good debate.
Oh, I happened to catch some of that, and you have to take that with a grain of salt because the taste preferences on one half of your sister-in-law aren't really in line with the taste preferences of, say, a podcast host with good beverages. Just saying. Because
I mean,
she willingly drinks television static. So you got to take that recommendation with a grain of salt. Or static. Not be ecstatic about it. You see what I did there?
Yeah. Clearly.
So what we should do is have a good beer made by the Confluence Brewing Company. As you can see right there, classy. Got Farmer John right there. His silos, his grain or wheat field, barley field, etc. Look at them. They got the hops and the combine and the everything right there. It's a beautiful, beautiful picture. This is a multi-grain ale, in fact, and it's brewed and canned, as I mentioned, by Confluence Brewing Company. They are located at 1235 Thomas Beck Road in Des Moines, Iowa. We have driven by the brewery several times. It looks like a very classy establishment. And on the side, it says Farmer John's Multi-Grain Ale. When most people think of Iowa, they picture flowing fields of grain for miles and miles. Created by a third-generation farm boy, Farmer John's Multi-Grain Ale is amber waves of grain in a glass. A refreshing wheat ale. It features a base of 2-row American barley malt, along with a large portion of wheat malt, a small dose of rye malt, and unmalted oats, corn, and wheat. Lots of stuff happening in this can. Lightly hopped with English East Kent Goldings hops, chosen for their subtle, earthy qualities, and finished with a locally grown Iowa Saz hops for their sweet, floral essence to create a beer that's light in body and color with the velvety texture and an aroma as sweet as a freshly cut field of hay. I'm going to be allergic to this can. Farmer John's captures the endless bounty of Iowa in an easy drinking wheat ale. Confluence Brewing Company, 10 years. Right there. There's the whole story that you just heard as well. This is 1 full pint, which means 16 fluid ounces. This also is 5.8% alcohol by volume, so we get our bang for our 16 ounces. And other than that, local artist there, the state of Iowa design on the side of the can, and the independent craft beer logo. Where good things come together. It's like the motto of this show.
Mm-hmm. Although, Kidder, I am going to take a little bit of a jab at him here. On the can here, it says, "Follow me to beer." This is an inanimate object. You can't follow it anywhere unless somebody throws it or rolls it. It doesn't move.
I mean, I brought it to you, so you didn't have to follow it anywhere.
Right. So, false advertising already. I'm calling shenanigans. Throw the flag. Blow the whistle. Put the hand up. Delayed penalty coming. 2 minutes in the box. Other reffing terms.
Cheers.
You're just like, I don't know how to follow that rant.
That's a referee rant, and we know that I've only guest refereed, been the guest official for a few instances, and they always end up with the referee winning. So,
Kidder, when you're a ref and a good ref, you're always prepared to ref. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I didn't even need a shirt. They know that I'm the law.
Yeah, get that out of here.
That first sip there, it's not too bad. He's thinking about it.
Kidder, it is maybe the fact that I've drank so many weird things on this show that when I have something that's just clearly just a plain wheat beer, I'm kind of bored.
We've come this far. We're done. We can't go on anymore. He's bored with beer, and that's the first ingredient in the show. Like, we just got to hang it up now. Thanks for joining us for the past year and change. We won't catch you down the dusty trail.
It's not that I'm bored with beer. I'm just saying, like, this, which is just kind of a simple wheat beer, while it's an easy drinker and all of that, it's just, I don't know, doesn't excite me. I don't know. It's kind of like been drinking all this risky stuff. There's just no adrenaline rush. There's no like, oh my gosh, what am I getting into? It's just a wheat beer. Kid's like, I'm just not prepared for this tonight. Howard's in a mood. I've had a long day. I can't do it. I can't do it.
I didn't drink enough before we started, I think.
Kidder. Here's the thing. I have been dealing with enough crazy shit at work that I can't talk about. My wife has come off of 4 nights in a row of working. It's just been kind of so crazy busy. And again, I have some stories to tell that I think that's just like, yay, a reasonable adult who I can have a conversation with, woohoo, it's so I might be a little overly excited because it's like, woo, not all of the assholes I have dealt with this week.
I'll try and drink faster so we can have a second beer.
Yeah. Well, truthfully, Kidder, Volbeat's Counting All the Assholes song.
Still counting, yes.
Yeah. Perfect theme song for this week. Just perfect.
But that means you're calling yourself an asshole as well, because you're definitely not alone. You're not alone.
Correct. You're here with me as well.
Liar, you're a cheater, you're a fool. Just like you.
Yeah. So, Kidder, I partook last night after I finally got rid of that annoying salesman in one of your favorite sports. That's right. We went to a Larks game last night.
I was going to say underwater basket weaving, but you got to it first. So,
yeah. Sorry that I stomped on clearly a superior underwater basket weaving joke, because those are so hard to come by.
Yeah, because they're underwater.
Yeah.
More where that came from. Just stay tuned for that.
Yeah. See, Little Miss actually was selected to be the baby bird of the game. And so, Kidder, I know you've been to at least one Larks game. I don't know
Only one.
I don't know if they were doing the baby bird or they did it the night that you were there, but it's kind of a neat, like, Lion King parody thing where they kind of sneak the baby on and they play the circle of life. And when it gets to the whole thing, then one parent holds the baby up, for everyone to see. There's a little thing, but it came with free tickets to the game, and which you can't complain. And we took my sister-in-law and her husband, kind of partially as a birthday gift and partially as just hey, you're fun people, we'll hang out with you. And Jitter, do you want a hot take right off the bat?
Bam! Let's do it.
If you answer a phone call and the person on the other end of the line is not dying during the national anthem, you are an asshole. That's right. We're standing there. The game's about to get ready. And all of a sudden, someone's phone rings. The person right behind us starts ringing. Most people hit silent, or like my phone, I can flip it and it'll cut the sound, would have been fine because, that's understandable. But no, this person literally answered the phone. Hello? Yeah. I'll be there shortly. They're singing the national anthem right now. Yeah. I'll be there. Heading there now. During the national anthem. We ended up, Kidder, these were some of the worst people. Like, because I attract weird people, of course I had to have the people who sat behind me be the most annoying people throughout the entire game. Whether it was the daughter who knew nothing about baseball, so kept asking questions. So when one of the players stole second base, she goes, wait, what did he do? Well, he stole second base. He can do that? You just watched him do it. She had to complain constantly about the fact that at the game, you could either buy a beer, wine, or if you didn't want a beer, your only other option was a Bud Light seltzer. And she was unhappy because she wanted to drink alcohol, but not a Bud Light seltzer. So you had that griping. You had the son who was like annoyingly talking to his mom the whole time because they're going to Medora at the end of August and he wants to get a tea time for Bully Pulpit. So he's trying to find a time that he can go. And mom's upset because she didn't know that he wanted to go to Bully Pulpit. So she didn't get that as part of the package. And he should get it as part of the package because then it's cheaper. But he wants to go Sunday morning. She's like, no, we got the brunch. He's like, well, what time's the brunch at? Well, it's at 1 o'clock. If it's at 1 o'clock, it's not brunch, Mom. Well, I don't know. That's what it's for. We have tickets. You're going. Okay, then I'll set my tea time for later. Yeah. So they did that the whole game. It was rough. But hey, I will say, Kidder, besides the folks behind me, it was a great game. The Larks started off with a really hot third inning, scored 4 runs. I mean, they had a triple, they had a double. It was some good baseball. A lot of players getting hit by pitchers throughout the game. There must have been like 8 or 10 hit by pitch throughout the course of the game. So that was kind of crazy. Anyway, we went up by 4. The Duluth Huskies came back. We're ahead by 2, and we ended up squeaking out the win, winning 7-6. So it only one really bad BS call, and it was really that the umpire was upset that the third base coach challenged him on one of the calls. And so he was immediately like, the same thing pretty much happened again. He just called him out. And then you watched him just run for the outfield, like after he called him out, the Larks player. Everybody was booing. But overall, we had a great time. It was a lot of fun. But I had to share that because of the jerks behind us, Kidder, because it just fits the theme of the week. So
apparently, I mean, I at least know an all right amount of information about baseball. I just don't like it. I mean, I have had more fun going to those games and not paying attention to the game itself, which is not a reason to go, because you can do that elsewhere, like at a bar or a restaurant or something else, the parking lot. I don't know. But the person who had the phone in the national anthem, if and this should be permitted under the law, where if somebody does that, or if you're not aware, it is in the United States Century Code that all men are supposed to remove their caps and put their hand over their heart as a requirement when the national anthem is played. So number 1, always put your hand over your heart during the national anthem, show some damn respect. And then number 2, again, related to the phone, it should be permitted to rip that phone out of that person's hand, snap it in half, and throw each half in complete opposite directions. They don't need to talk on the phone anymore. They don't need that phone. They just lost their rights to have a phone. It's just like a coworker of mine and I have this discussion a lot. Frustrating drivers. You drive like an asshole. You don't use your turn signal. So you know what? You don't use your turn signal. You just lost your right to vote. Psh, done. You know why? Because you're stupid. You don't use your turn signal. So clearly you don't understand the rules of society. So you should not be allowed to vote. Done. How long? Forever. You can put in petitions every year, and perhaps on the 20th anniversary of you losing your rights, you might have a hearing to potentially see if you have used your turn signal on every turn and lane change since then.
That's one that I've never understood, is people who don't use the turn signal, because it's not like that's a hard thing to do. It's not like it's 4 button pushes, to start a recording on a Google Meet. It's usually either an up motion or a down motion, or a forward or a backward, but it's not hard.
That's how it goes, but here we are.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then, of course, you're still, at baseball and whatnot. Much rather travel and go to a hockey game.
Hey, I do enjoy hockey more than baseball, but I don't mind going to a baseball game. I played baseball as a kid up until it got too competitive. When our star player struck out and came back to the dugout and threw his bat and nearly hit 4 of us, I was done. It's like, it's a strikeout. Even at the pro level, they strike out. It's not worth throwing your bat over. When it gets to be that competitive, I stop. But I enjoy Kidder. It was fun to just sit outside. It was a beautiful night last night, to watch the sunset over that, over the, municipal stadium, which
The
is
homeless camp. Oh,
I was going more for just the beauty of the surroundings, Kidder.
or the trailer park.
You can't see the trailer park from there. It's off to the side. I had a beautiful shot of downtown. I could see Camp Hancock State Historic Site in the background. It's stop killing my good time, Kidder. Stop it. Stop being a buzzkill. That's why I didn't invite you to baseball.
Well, I've been invited to Larks games 3 times in the past 3 weeks. I've had something going on each night, and I can't say that I really want to go.
As I said, you have to view it very much as the experience. Like, you go, you sit, you watch the game. You don't have to get fully invested. You drink a beer. You enjoy being outside, and you just.
My first Larks game set the expectation a little bit high for future Larks games, and here's why. Number one, didn't have to pay for the ticket. Had a ticket from a friend. Perfect. Number two, had the all-you-can-eat food through the end of the 3rd inning. Perfect. Number three, had the all-you-can-drink package through the end of the 3rd inning, which included the alcohol. So, I got, pretty much almost drunk by the end of the 3rd period. I think I had 6 beers by that point. And then it went downhill from there. Not because I couldn't get free alcohol anymore or extra food, because I was stuffed. No, my friend voluntold the people to come get me for the intermission entertainment. So I got stuck in one of those giant inflatable clear balls where you have to put yourself in it and then run your ass toward the other people and knock them over. I guess I could say that it's lucky I didn't puke in the mofo because it was hot and it killed my buzz.
Mm. See, now I wouldn't make you do a between the innings game, Kidder. That's no, you know me. Not my.
I could see,
not my.
I could see you doing it.
No, actually, I'm much more of I want to just sit here and enjoy the atmosphere. That's really how I do view it. I don't want a part of any of that. Like, it was great that Little Miss was the baby bird, and that was fun, but even that was a bit stress-inducing. Like, you had to get there, and then you had to stand there and wait till we were needed, and making sure we were in the right place, and that was too much. I just no. I just want to sit in my chair, eat my hot dog, drink my beer.
Is that a Cloverdale hot dog?
It was.
Those are the best hot dogs.
Yeah.
Cloverdale.
Hey, Kidder, want another hot take?
Cloverdale summer sausage is the best summer sausage that's available on the market anywhere?
No, this is a different hot take.
That was my hot take.
I see. Stop hijacking my segment, kidder. Listen, I enjoy a good flavored popcorn, like a cheddar or a caramel. But birthday cake popcorn?
Gross.
It was. It's all they had. My wife picked it up for us to eat popcorn, and Junior loved it. But I was like, yep, this tastes like crunchy birthday cake. Ugh. So I think we still have a little bit left. It was too sweet, and not in like the cool NWO too sweet. It was just too sweet.
Just doesn't sound good. It doesn't even sound interesting to me. How about you talking hot takes? Here's one for you. The cookie place on the north end?
Crumble
grocery
cookies
store. Well, I wasn't going to throw their name out, but
I did.
Maybe that place. The missus seems to love their cookies, and she goes up and spends, $50 on 5 cookies, comes back with them, and here, try this. No. Well, just try it. No, get that shit out of my face. Oh, just try it. You're going to like it. Fine. So you shut up. I'll try it. Yeah. Gross. Sorry. Had to drop the F-bomb because it's how much it pisses me off. And it's every cookie. How do you make every cookie taste the same? How? They're different flavors of cookie. How do you do that? All these are really good. No! Go to Walmart, buy the 12 to 16 pack of sugar frosted cookies for $4, which is cheaper than one of their damn cookies, and you get 12 delicious, delectable, tasty, soft morsels of happiness in one box. Yes, those taste the same because they're all the same type of cookie. But you could also get a chocolate chip cookie if you want. 12 of those for the price of one. I don't get it. Oh, this is a Monster M&M oatmeal raisin frosted cookie. I don't care. I don't want it. Well, I'll just try it. No, I don't know. Get it away from me. Yeah, but just try it. Fine. Like in Super Troopers, just eat the damn soap. Takes it and throws, takes a big bite, throws the damn thing. Like that's how I feel. Now, if it were donuts from Bear's Scat Donuts, there with all of the delicious flavors of donuts, the specialty donuts, the regular donuts, I will pay a premium for that tasty fresh donut covered in that icy glazed frosting with some Oreo pieces on it, or perhaps the caramel and the Twix pieces on top, or even the Frosted Flakes version or the Fruity Pebbles. There's even a Pop Rocks version where it's the glaze on top and then they put the Pop Rocks on top, but it doesn't ruin them. So then when you eat it, it still pops in your mouth. This is why we can't have nice things, because there's companies out there like a certain cookie company that crumble your hopes and dreams of delectable cookies.
So I'm going to disagree with you on the crumble cookies. I don't think they all taste the same, and I don't think they taste terrible. However, I will say they are overpriced. I will agree with you on that. They aren't worth the price tag. So
this is my hot take.
Hey, hot take hot take is meant to be disagreeable. Okay, right? It's supposed to be. So
Is it?
listen,
I thought it
yes.
was everybody just accepts it and then moves on with their life because now they've learned something.
no, it's meant to be controversial. So people will put comments down below and say, "I agree with Kidder," on this, or "I agree with Howard." I will also say on the Bear Scat donuts, I will agree they're good. However, all of the ones you named, I would never buy because all of those extra topping stuff just fall off and make a mess. So, no, man.
That's why you eat them in the store over the box, because then they're in the box, and then it's kind of like when you eat a pulled pork sandwich. You're eating it and you got some pulled pork that drops out of the sandwich onto your plate, and then you grab your little fork and then you have a little bonus at the end. It's just like that.
No, what all you end up looking like is like a prairie dog or a ground squirrel eating that because you're just sitting over the box going, that was an excellent visual joke.
Well,
Sorry, audio listeners, check out the YouTube channel to see we do that.
Yeah, I mean, they could hear you, but I mean, that would be a great shirt too, and a good note that I'm not going to go eat donuts with you because you're gonna look like a damn prairie dog, ground squirrel, or gopher or something like that.
No, not a gopher, man, because gophers suck.
Yeah, the gophers. So I guess we just got to keep the nuts away from Howard.
This has been the best rant/tangent ever.
I mean, it's been a couple weeks since we've had one of these.
Yeah, it's good. We should probably get back to the regular stuff that we talk about on this show. Otherwise, people might actually mistake this for being fun.
That's true. I was going to say that we could talk about regular stuff, but it's not like Lane caught this part anyway. So there's that. All right. How you doing on your beer, by the way? I think I'm probably 2/3 finished.
I'm a bit behind that. I'm about half.
Okay. Well, let's talk about a topic then. Wrestling. Pretty good week for wrestling. Maybe not for some, but I think for most it was a good week for wrestling. Of course, in WWE, as we talked about last week, as it broke, Vincent Kennedy McMahon has retired because they finally found out that he paid over $14 million in hush money out of WWE's coffers instead of his own. So, federal investigation, potential federal charges, which, speaking of federal charges, apparently Shakira is facing 8 years in prison due to tax issues. That was information that came out today. I'm like, really? Shakira?
I don't believe it. I don't believe it, Kidder. Those hips don't lie.
Thank you for making that joke. I am happy that I softballed that one for you.
Kidder, before you jump to the next point.
Infield triple.
Yeah. I was just going to say, last week you threw the Vince stuff at me, and I kind of had to react to it like on the fly for some truly terrible radio. Because it was bad. I've edited it in a way that it's better, but it was bad at the moment. So here's some more well thought out thoughts on this.
What are we doing on this show anymore?
Oh, I broke Kidder. It was great.
just put some notes up. Full screen. Just put some notes up. It'll make sense for the people watching this. For those of you listening to the audio version, check the show notes. There's probably some kind of thing down in the description that you'll find that might be helpful at this point. If not, just go to the next time code.
Anyway, I was going to say, you know, I admitted I was wrong in saying that nothing would happen from all this hush money scandal. You know, and I'll admit that I was wrong on that. You know, and it really is something big. I mean, we haven't had a major shakeup like this in the wrestling industry and world for a long time. I mean, this is huge. This is, you know, Vince McMahon, the guy who picked apart and destroyed the territory system. You know, he changed what wrestling is. He changed to, you know, to the product that we know today, where it's, you know, national product and syndicated and, you know, big WrestleMania events and all of that. I mean, he did a lot of that. And him stepping down, that's a big deal in that sense, because it was something I think most of us thought he would die before retire. You know,
Yeah.
Like there's that. Do I think this just means that we're going to get changes right away? No. I think it'll be a bit of a slow change, but I do think we will see changes. I know, and I'll kind of hit the point. We know that Triple H is now in charge of creative. I know a lot of people tuned into Raw this week, hoping that it was going to be like some amazing like change and such. And from all the accounts I heard, it wasn't bad. It was just the okay, decent Raw, you know.
Raw on Monday was the last episode that Vince wrote. So as of SmackDown this evening and beyond, it is the creative team and Triple H making the decisions. So Max Dupree, who was basically fired last week from the Max model, whatever, I don't pay attention to it. He was like out, and then tonight, hey, I'm still in the group. Hey guys. So there's things like that are now happening already.
Yeah.
So within the same week, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that there won't be changes and that, you know, in like 2 weeks or in a month, the product might be very different. It's going to take him a little bit to, you know, Triple H is going to have to establish his writing team, you know, and does he keep everybody who was a Vince guy there? Hard to say. You know, he built his own team for NXT and they did very well. So could we see the return of people like the Road Dogg, you know, back to NXT?
It's funny
Or
that you mentioned Road Dogg, just since you brought up Road Dogg. He has been tweeting to Tony Khan of AEW about how problematic, I guess you could say, their product is, and call me, make me an offer, hire me, please. Almost not embarrassing, but bizarre. Of, hey, you should hire me. You need to hire me. But as you said, now that Vince is gone, I mean, he could be rehired to the WWE creative staff or training staff or any of it.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, a lot of people really liked Triple H's NXT and the takeover shows. I mean, that was some great stuff. And I am sure we are going to see different wrestling matches. You know, you're not going to have to be the super big, strong guy to be champion. We're going to see some of the smaller guys be champion. And there are some, you know, Triple H guys who are still on the roster. So we could see maybe a decent run from Finn Balor. You know, we might get to see some other people come back. You know, we could see Tyler Breeze come back. There's a lot of potential for that in there. And we might see WWE pick up some more of the guys from AEW, because let's face it, the AEW roster is bloated. And some of those guys, if they get a chance to jump ship and go somewhere and possibly be something and have a shot at being higher in the picture, we might see some of that. We'll probably see more tag teams. We might actually see factions, because believe it or not, Triple H had created several factions throughout his time in NXT. We'll probably see more and better stuff out of the women's division, because under Triple H, we got the rise of Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, and that whole crew. So we could be heading towards something really good. It might just take time to get there. So that's my more well thought out take on this whole Vince scandal.
So I have to say I hate Judgment Day and what Vince and creative did to it by putting Finn Balor in charge. I mean, whatever. He could have joined the faction, but how they beat up Edge and kicked him out of the group that he formed takes all interest from me out of it, because Damian Priest, whatever. And then Rhea Ripley, they gave her something to do, and she ended up apparently wearing a heart monitor and having some serious health issues, which is why she wasn't seen on the program for a few weeks in a row, and then just showed up to help beat up the Mysterios, who that's the Judgment Day is now feuding with the Mysterios. That it doesn't do anything for me. The pieces that were laid by Edge and the promos that were cut, your Judgment Day is coming. These things that they put together were very interesting to me. And then, well, we're going to do it a different way, and you don't have a say, and if go along with it or you're out of the group. Well, I think it's dumb. Okay, you're out of the group. That that mentality it's so asshole-like that it doesn't get anybody anywhere, and the product suffers because of that. So Judgment Day, I have minimal interest in. They might try and fix it now. I doubt it. They've been running vignettes that feature Edge. It doesn't specifically say Edge, but you can tell if you freeze frame it at certain points, the different imagery that's within the scenes, you can see it's Edge. So when is he coming back? How is he coming back? Like these sorts of questions, hopefully answered soon. I don't know if it'll be tomorrow at SummerSlam or if it will be yet in another 2 to 4 weeks, but we'll see.
Yeah. I would almost guess, Kidder, that what they'll do is they'll probably go through with SummerSlam as plans are currently set, because it doesn't make sense to change anything right now. You've already been doing your marketing, you've been doing your builds. No point in shaking things up now. I would say that, and this would be my prediction, that the Raw after SummerSlam is where we'll start to see more of the dramatic changes. I think that we'll see them start to pull the trigger on some things, try and fix some things, drop some things, build some things, and start. Because right now that you're kind of getting done with SummerSlam, the next big thing to build towards is WrestleMania.
Oh.
Yeah, and you got to start laying that groundwork now. So I would say they'll probably stick with it. It might not be the same results that they were planning from SummerSlam, because I'm sure that they have a direction they want to go, or at least I'm hoping they start to have a direction they want to go. And if Triple H is really in charge, they will, because that was what he was doing with takeovers. He had his ideas of what takeover was going to be, and they built to that, you know, and they set the groundwork. They laid it in to build towards those takeover matches. And this is why one of the reasons I liked the takeovers, because of how they set it up, you could rest a belt, right? You didn't need every title defended on every takeover. You could rest some people and use another feud that you've been building for longer. So it'll be good. It'll be interesting to see. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out of SummerSlam.
Yeah. And in 24 hours, we'll know.
Mm-hmm.
And that video, as of this release, has been out for 2 weeks. So please go watch it. Other than that, I watched Raw, not quite live, but fast forwarded through it, and I don't remember much of it. It was forgettable, very forgettable. It is what it is. But AEW, on the other hand, I watched most of it, and it was pretty darn good. The episode was called Fight for the Fallen, which was a Dynamite episode, and tonight continued into the Rampage as well. Now, the interesting things, they donated $100,000 to the Oceana Foundation as part of a Shark Week collaboration. So good for them, helping out some foundation that tries to help aquatic life and those sorts of things. So very good. Bryan Danielson returned, had a match, was pretty good as the main event. He lost, but still was pretty good. Also of note, the FTW champion, Ricky Starks. He's the longest reigning FTW champion. He had a match against Danhausen. Well, Danhausen lost, and Ricky Starks celebrated. And then Hook came out, challenged him, took up the challenge, and Hook beat him up, taking the FTW championship. So Hook is now 12-0. Yes, on his 12th match, he won a championship. I mean, it's not like it's officially recognized as like a championship because it's the FTW championship, but it's Taz's championship. And so it only makes sense that, after 12 matches officially, that I guess he wins that as his first championship. Aside from that, Anna Jay is now part of the Jericho Appreciation Society. Excellence in sports, entertainment. And so she's a heel. Of course, Anna Jay was with the Dark Order. So now she is flipped into the heel mode and is there. Hangman Adam Page is kind of torn between the Young Bucks and the newly announced Trios Championships. He was kind of being like, hey guys, what's up? We should, think about this. And then the Dark Order's like, hey, what's up, Adam? How's it going? And he's like, oh yeah, guys, this is what's up. So, they're building a little bit of questionable feelings there between the Dark Order and the Young Bucks for Hangman Adam Page. Last weekend at the Ring of Honor pay-per-view, I think it was Death Before Dishonor. I could be wrong. I don't remember. But Claudio Castagnoli won the Ring of Honor World Championship. First time he's held that belt. Congratulations on winning that title. And great win for the Blackpool Combat Club because, they're kicking ass, taking names, especially with, I almost said Dean Ambrose, with John Moxley being the interim AEW World Champion. So there's some good stuff happening over there. And Wheeler Yuta is still the Ring of Honor. I just had it. He's the. Oh, what the hell is it now? It's like the Authentic Wrestling Championship. Pure champion. That's what it is. So he still holds that. He won at the pay-per-view as well. Their next pay-per-view is also coming up in a few weeks, even as this is released. Just looking down the calendar, it's not even in the next, little bit. So that's a couple things to look forward to. And we will have the mediocre coverage that you've come to expect right here on Beer, Blues, and BS. Anything else you want to chat about with wrestling? As he's
No, I'm good. That was pretty much all of like the wrestling stuff I had on the whole Vince stuff and such. I haven't really had a lot of time to follow anything else going on. I've been doing a lot of editing lately, to get us caught up and in a position to, if we need to take a night off, we now have a clip show put together. It's pretty good. So at some point, people will see it and they'll be like, oh, this is what they were talking about.
How good is it?
It's not bad. It's not bad.
About as entertaining as a regular show, so that says something.
There's some good laugh out loud moments to it, and such. Yeah. There's some things in there, Kidder. Like there's a particular piece of our merch that we have had on sale on the merch store that I'd like to think that maybe the reason why it has never taken off and sold is because the bit of conversation where that inspired the shirt has never actually aired. So look forward to that at some point in the future when we can't make an episode.
Great.
Hey, Kidder, I did finish. Where did I put it? Okay. Here's a confession for you, Kidder. Let me move one thing. So because of when we record this and how late we get, sometimes we're talking afterwards and such. I don't always clean up right after the podcast, and where this happens to create a problem as we go on a little field trip is I kind of have a desk that is just filled with all of the empties.
You alcoholic.
So I went to reach for this one to go, look, Kidder, it's done, it's gone, and I had to sit here and go like, wait, which beer is it? Yeah. So yeah, I need to clean that up. Yeah.
This could be considered a meeting, so that makes you officially an alcoholic.
No, I think it just makes me a bit of a slob. Probably what it actually comes
So is
to.
that a behind the curtain in the middle of the show? I mean, you got to put the little the curtains opening over the can.
It's just an example of the workflow that goes into this, and the fact that yes, we do this late at night, and oftentimes, Kidder, like we finish the show, I take off the headphones and I just go to bed because I have kids who get up at like 7 a.m. and it's like I need to try to get some sleep and all of that. And it's like I'll deal with those beer cans tomorrow. And then the next week comes down and I'm like, I didn't deal with those beer cans. Well, guess I'm adding to the collection tonight. But
You
I was saying,
start
right?
putting them on the rack behind you. Just start stacking them up and be
You know,
like the old apartment where we had the collectible alcohol items, like the jug of sangria after it was emptied as a trophy, and the juice can that was up there. Yeah, it was a juice can put up there.
No, because I like all of my gaming memorabilia and such. I know it looks like there's an empty space, like right about where my finger is there, kind of in that kind of whole gap. But actually, it's a bunch of painted miniatures that I have done that are just filling that, waiting for me to organize the Cave of Wonder so that I can put them away. But no, Kidder, the reason I brought up the fact that I finished that beer is I think it's time for What's on Tap round dos. So, Kidder,
What do you have?
oh, you beat me to it.
Ha!
Yeah.
Bam!
Unfortunately, due to the rules of beer, blues, and BS, it means I have to reveal first.
It's like Emerald Lagasse. Hey, you want some more seasoning in this? Bam!
Yeah. Well, Kidder, I'm drinking this one for my wife because, as I said, she came off of 4 overnights this week, then had to deal with the kids and with everything else, including some hail damage, because we took some hail damage, Kidder, in that hailstorm that came through. And she hasn't been getting a lot of sleep, and so Kidder, she could use one of these. I have here from the Oscar Blues Brewery. It's a Mama's Little Yellow Pills. Yeah. It is a Bohemian Pilsner, 4.7% alcohol by volume. And being that it's an Oscar Brewery, there's no notes on this, Kidder. I can't tell you anything about it except that it's a Pilsner. So, into the unknown. The last Oscar Blues brewery beer that I had, I enjoyed. So, I'm hoping this one lives up to it. Not much for a smell. Let's give it a good old taste. It's not bad. It again falls kind of into that, like, wheat beer is kind of boring right now rating. But I do like it just a tad bit better than the Farmer John's. But it's not by much. Like, if I were to give the Farmer John's a rating here in What's on Tap round 2, mostly to bug the local geek because I didn't give a rating the first time around, like, I would give that one like a 3. Yeah, like a 3. And I might give this like a 3.2. Like, it's just like slightly better. But it's nothing fancy, but it's not a bad drinker. Just, it's all right. What do you got?
Well, it reminds me that I need to apparently rate the Confluence Brewing. And I think that I could have a few of these. So I give this like the can looks really nice too. So there's that. I mean, the farmer, look at him. He's got that shit-eating grin on his face. Like he's really happy. Like, I grew a bunch of this barley. It's going to get turned into some beer. It's going to be some great beer. So I give it like 4. so I could drink some more of those. As for this one, a brand new one. Off of this, we continue the Iowa collection. This is the Tipsy in Tijuana Mexican lager. Look at that mustache, Howie Blues. I mean, it looks pretty much just like you. Just needs a goatee. A little bit of a beard going, maybe. This one is 12 fluid ounces, 5% alcohol per volume. It's by the Back Pocket Brewing Company. It says drink local. This beer was brewed on 4/20.
Oh boy.
Tiny tasting notes or something here. Okay. As you can see, it's very legible. Look at that. A light color text on a light color background. Contrast, people! Graphic design 101. Okay. And please recycle. Holy shit. Feel like I need glasses and I have 20/20 vision. Our signature Mexican lager returns this year with a hint of key, lime juice, and salt. Brewed with a flaked corn, rice, and hopped with motueka. 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 No. Sounds more Italian. The ABV on this is 5. The IBUs 24, and the FLOZs are 12. Catch all that?
Mm-hmm.
Made in Coralville, Iowa. You can visit them at backpocketbrewing.com. And for this, getting out the trusty Yeti Fighting Sioux cooler. I guess it's not really a cooler. It's more of a koozie. Keep it cool. So let's check it out. Let's open it up.
For a moment there, Kidder, I lost my beer again amongst the cans. This is becoming a real issue.
Bro! Put a koozie on it. We know you're a slow drinker, so then you at least know which one's coldest.
I don't have a koozie down here, man.
Pour it in your official Triple B pint glass, available at beerbluesbs.com.
Yeah, but that's upstairs, man. I'd have to go all the way up.
Or at beerbluesbs.com.
And then wait like the week for it to be delivered.
But I mean, that's pretty damn good for creation and shipping, especially in these times. I don't know how well I'm gonna like this because it smells pretty hoppy straight off the get-go, but it looks light. Wow. I am somewhat pleasantly surprised because it tastes like you are or have been drinking a beer, like a light beer, and having those tasty fresh squeezed lime and salted cooked chips at Qdoba. Yeah, not too bad. I still won't rate it like very high because it has those IPA tastes to it, but I'm pleasantly surprised. Let's see how I fare when I take a few more drinks. You really get a lot of lime with it, which is nice. It's not, for me, it's not as good as Bud Light lime. I really enjoy those on a hot day. And it's been a few years since I've had one or two of those on a hot day. So I think we need to change that, Howie Blues. Mm-hmm. But yeah, not too bad. Maybe a 3.5. Maybe a tree fitty.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Especially with the IPA tastes on it. Yeah.
You know, speaking of hot days, Kidder, I'm going to be out of town next week. The family on my dad's side is getting together. We haven't gotten together in quite a few years. And the last 2 times that the family has gotten together, it's because of funerals. So there was a real push for us to do kind of a family get together. I have family members who've never met my kids, so that's kind of a big thing. So the family's getting together and such, and kind of spending a weekend together. And I got contacted, Kidder, about, hey, we're going to do a golf event. We're going to play best ball, random teams. Kidder, I don't think I've picked up clubs in like 5 years.
Has it been that long?
I think so. The last time that I played, and you might give you a better sense, because I didn't go back in Facebook to look at the year. We played New Salem, and it was you and me and brother Nico, and that was before you were married. So, yeah.
I'm going back, and as I go back, one of the first pictures that comes up is this one. So
God,
I just have to share that.
I hate that photo.
Or there's also this one of you in handcuffs. I mean, I don't know what was going on there, but there's that. Or the finger point of doom, right? There's that one.
Oh crap! That finger's upstairs.
Or going back even farther, look at that. That one, that's a classic right there, out of the old ranch truck.
Mm-hmm.
Or I guess even going back even farther from the apartment in Grand Forks. Look at that hair. Look at that guy and that old font. Look at that. That's you can't see it because it blurred out. But man, that's a damn good. There's one.
I was gonna say, I'm waiting for the Slim Jim photo to come up.
There it is. And because not to be confused with the igloo plastic painting incident, this is where the two of us looked awfully high, but we were just editing films, and I thought it would be funny to take a picture.
Yeah. Oh, the good old days. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway,
Before you with glasses, too.
Yeah. That was back when I could stare at a computer all day and feel fine.
Yeah. I was trying to find that picture, but I don't think that we actually took a picture out on the golf course.
No. But it's been like, as I said, at least 5 years. So it's been a while. I was kind of thinking I needed to, and I just haven't really seen yet. I was going to say, man, Kidder, I should have found a time this week and said, hey, Kidder, we should just blow off a day of work, go hit the links, so I can not be quite so rusty. Because like the people I'm playing with, Kidder, like some of them like play on their high school golf teams and win tournaments, and like golf is what they do. So whoever I get partnered with, I am just going to be nothing more than a detriment. Yeah.
May 27th, 2017.
Yeah. So 5 years.
There's the weapon.
Mm-hmm. He's talking about the golf club, not me. So, but we'll see. Maybe I'll try because we're leaving Friday. So I might have to try and go like to the driving range and try and hit a few balls and such. So if you have an evening free, kidder, want to go hit some balls, let me know.
I mean, Tuesday it's supposed to be the high of about 102, so that'd be perfect.
Okay, we'll talk after the show. We'll figure something out. Or we won't, and I'll use the 5 years as an excuse for why I play so poorly this next weekend.
I mean, just at least time to clean off the weapon. Make sure it hasn't rusted.
It hasn't rusted. It's in a very nice protective UND Fighting Sioux golf bag that is a lot prettier than my game. So, yeah, all right. Truthfully, kidder, I'm actually like a little worried about the fact that I have the weapon in my bag because my dad used to use the weapon to basically they would do driving range contests with it for money. And then he tried to sell it, and that's when I stole it, and it's been in my bag. And every now and then he brings it up because he knows he didn't actually sell it. He's like, I keep looking for it, and I haven't found the weapon. He doesn't call it the weapon. I haven't found that little kid's 7-wood we used to have. I always wondered what happened to it. So
I mean, he doesn't watch this show, so he's not gonna know.
No. I mean, he'll never know. But I'm a little worried, like if he happens to like look in my bag, while we're playing. Hey, what are you doing with this? Nothing. I also
This kind of looks like that one club.
Yeah, I now have to figure out also, Kidder, how to play like a par 3 because we only ever use the weapon on par 3s. So I haven't actually like played a legitimate par 3 in like since college. So I don't even like, man, what club do I even use on a par 3? I don't know.
Do like I did. Because when I go golfing, I do not have a weapon of my own. We only, in our group, have 2 weapons. One, the original that you have, and 2, the weapon 2.0, which Nico has. And that one, of course, wrapped in reflective safety tape for your protection. So, really, I have to learn how to golf again on par 3s. So what do? I tee off with the hybrid. In my clubs, I have the driver, your 1-wood, the 3-wood, and the 5-wood, and then the next club is a hybrid. I use that on a par 3. I really shouldn't. Here's why. Lane can testify to this, in fact, that the last time we went golfing, which was May, or was it June? Somewhere in there, we went golfing as somewhat of a test pilot episode for a golf show that we wanted to do. Tried to get a bunch of footage together. I know we had 4 people, so I don't know. Anyway, number one, it wasn't that good, as in the golfing wasn't that good. The weather wasn't completely good either because there was about a 40-mile-per-hour wind for half of the day, and so it was hot but cold at the same time, and yeah, it was just kind of there. But as I was saying, par 3, got out the hybrid, and at the Steel Golf Course, the par 3 in question tees off over this little ravine where you come back up on the other side and you have your green for the hole. And then it goes down into the ditch, and then the highway runs there. I cleared the highway with my hybrid. Best shot of the day. wasted it on a par 3. Wasn't even drinking alcohol. So there's that.
You know, Kidder, what you should have done is after you guys recorded all that footage of you golfing, you should have done the editing and then brought me in to be like the golf narrator, trying to like be serious about like the whole thing. Mark Kidder is stepping up to the tee box now. He's using a hybrid. Seems like a bad move for this par 3. And here's the swing. He got all of that. Best shot he's had all day. And that farmer is going to be really happy when he finds that ball while plowing his fields later. Let's all be glad that he didn't hit a cow, folks.
Oh, I mean, the railroad tracks are on the other side of the highway, just so you know. And we found Lane's ball, which he also overshot into the ditch. But mine, there you go.
See again, and also the fact that Lane was involved. There could have just been so much, you know. Because again, even with that, it's like Kidder has clearly hit the ball further than Lane, while both have cleared the tee. Kidder has established his dominance by showing that yes, he is the stronger man.
All day, every day, crushing that ball.
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, Kidder, if you were going to do a golf show, I think you need to go and look at more of Bill Murray had a golf show with his brothers. I don't know if you ever watched it. It was on Comedy Central. And it was them playing golf, but there was a lot of like golf shenanigans kind of throughout it. And that's probably where the line that you guys should have gone with. And like, hey, I could have loaned you the skirt. I have that still.
I mentioned it. We played somewhat by those rules. However, none of us failed to surpass the women's tee box. So we didn't need the skirt.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good thing. So, well, Kidder, I see on the good old run sheet a long list of stuff that you've apparently been watching. So, even though I know what the answer is, Kidder, what have you been watching lately?
Well, have you been watching anything?
You know what? Okay, I watched some weird things, Kidder. And recently, I don't know how I got on this weird thing. I think it was because I was watching one playthrough, and it led me to somebody else's content. I've been watching their content. I've been watching this guy, Purple Cliff, and he's a Pokemon streamer, and he's doing this thing. There's a hard mode that kind of the internet fan base community has created called a Nuzlocke. And it basically kind of comes down to 3 rules. You can only catch the first Pokemon on any route. So you're very limited in what you get for Pokemon. 2, if your Pokemon faints, then it's gone. You don't get to use that Pokemon ever again. And if you run out, then you lose the game. And 3, you have to name all your Pokemon so that when they do die, it causes the most trauma to you possible. Anyway, he's been doing a series of videos where he does this Nuzlocke, but at the same time, his chat, because he live streams this, can send him videos that play. And if they can make him laugh, then he has to get rid of a Pokemon. So it's kind of a race against the clock with them. And I will say, like, the thing that fascinates me about it is, like, the videos that they send in that make him laugh, you know me, I don't find a lot of that kind of humor funny. But to watch him suffer to not laugh throughout the whole thing is entertaining. Because it's just him, like, being tortured, trying not to laugh at some of these things. And he also just has a really great laugh. So when he does crack up, like, it's never like he goes, haha, and chuckles, a little bit. It's like full blown. He's ended up on the floor a couple of times with it. And it's just his sheer enjoyment of it just makes it entertaining. So that's what I've been watching, but I'm kind of getting tired of those. So I'm kind of hoping the Geo Wizard goes on a straight line mission, or I find something better. But yeah, that's what I've had on in the little bit of time that I've had to watch anything. So I haven't really watched any TV or anything at all. As I said, it's been a lot of family time, housework, editing the podcast. I'll throw it in here now as a teaser for things to come. I did watch the second episode of a Flying Foodies stopover show. If you don't know who that is, folks, the Flying Foodie, actually A Flying Foodie is his channel, is a friend of ours who is now a pilot and traveling the world. And he started his own YouTube channel based around food and such. He's got 2 episodes out. The third one drops Sunday, kidder, as of us recording this. So the third episode will be out. They're really good. And such. So I've watched those 2. Very good. And I believe he's going to join us sometime in the future on the podcast, and we can talk to him about it because he's got some stories. So
Wunderbar. So in my latest TV viewing, including really last week, because we didn't get to talk too much about the television viewing last week, Ms. Marvel wrapped up season 1, essentially. It was all right. The biggest thing was the cameo at the very end of the credits for the season finale episode. The other piece is with Marvel. July 23rd, during San Diego Comic-Con, Marvel Studios announced their Phase 5, which takes us through 2030. So the next 7.5 years, essentially. Phase 6? I thought it was 5. Okay. Well, 6, 8, 9, wherever we are in the multiverse. Just trying to get that going. The list has been essentially released. It's a giant timeline. There's a few things, including The Avengers, Secret Wars, The Avengers, The Kang Dynasty, Captain America, New World Order, New World Order, The Thunderbolts, The Multiverse Saga, Avengers, The Eternity War, which apparently 2 of those Avengers movies are supposed to be a back-to-back, or maybe there's another couple of them that'll be back-to-back. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. Red Guardian, Generation, Runaways, The New Era, The Nomad, Hercules, Rise of the Gods, Shang-Chi and the Wreckage of Time, Midnight Suns, The Black Knight, Origins, Avengers Excursion, Avengers Timeless, Avengers Academy, which is also known as the Young Avengers, Captain America Red, White, and Black, and Celestials, The End of Time. Those are all of the titles that have been released. And of course, with that, you take a little bit of a grain of salt because those are the project titles registered officially. those titles might have small changes by the time they're actually released to the public. And that depends on the story development of the overall Marvel story arc in relation to the comic books and what the director decides to do for that individual film. The pieces that are already scheduled or have been worked on include Deadpool 3, Blade, another Fantastic Four, X-Men, and Mutants. Your take on the Marvel multiverse spewing forth many, many, many more pieces.
There's some really interesting titles on there that'll be interesting to see what they do. Thunderbolts will be interesting to see which team they go with. Kidder, I know you're not a big comics guy, but the Thunderbolts are villains who try to be heroes. So could be interesting in that sense to see what they do with it. Another interesting piece of news that came out with this, Kidder, is that when Disney bought Fox and got the movie rights and such, they also, because of that, there were contracts in place. So some of these folks who are going to be coming over and playing the X-Men it's because they're still contracted to play X-Men in a certain amount of films and such. So you're going to get to see some carryover from the X-Men into that. So there's that. Yeah, it's an interesting list. I glanced through it and was kind of like, okay. And that's about all the more hyped I got, because a movie that's all the way out there in 2030, I don't really care about right now. I'm more interested in what's coming out next, So, and even then, like I am way behind on the whole Marvel stuff, because after Endgame, I haven't seen Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I haven't seen the Eternals. I haven't seen Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I have not seen Thor, Love and Thunder. I've seen WandaVision. I've seen one episode of The Falcon and Winter Soldier. And that's about it. And even then, there's some stuff before Endgame I haven't seen. I haven't seen the first Ant-Man movie. I haven't seen the second Ant-Man movie. I haven't seen Captain Marvel. I mean, there's just so much with it that it's just almost, it's almost like pro wrestling. It's a little too much. I'm kind of okay if a slowdown, especially when they added in the series stuff, because I'd be okay with a little bit of a slowdown so that I could focus on some other things. And I know that's not in Disney's best interest, but I would appreciate it. A little slowdown, a little chance to watch.
You gotta catch up.
That's not happening for a while.
Sleep.
Yes, I do.
You can't sleep. No, you have to watch all of them. And I mean, that I have a good majority of them back here on the shelf, and I do not have them in their official order of this movie and then this movie and then this movie and then this movie. But I have a master list essentially through phase, 3 or 4 that takes you through the timeline of how they happen in order cinematically, not in their release order. Because that's something that bothers me. It's when you go to this movie and you're like, when the hell does this take place? This is before this, but it's after this, and there's pieces of this thing and whatever, and then it's trying to connect those, and you feel like the meme of all of the equations, and you're like trying to figure out your own multiverse. So that bothers me, but I do have to say, as I look over, and this week officially the Doctor Strange and the Multiverse was released officially on home video, so it's now on the shelf in the Steelbook collection. Thank you very much. But it's something to see. There's a lot of stuff to see, like you said, and to keep it straight is kind of a job in of itself. And thanks to the internet for getting all of those timelines straight. And that's one of the things I want to do is eventually go back when we're to a point where, okay, we have 35 movies all in a row. These play in this order. Go back and watch them and try and pick up, because you've seen them all already. Try and pick up on other pieces and see if it connects a little bit better. That's what I liked about Captain America after that finished, and the Winter Soldier and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That piece together leading to the next movie. Whereas Ms. Marvel is more of an origin story. It is really could have been a movie. It didn't specifically have to be a series of 7 episodes. I mean, they could have made it a 2-hour movie and that would have been enough to really get the point across. Loki, excellent series. That one, they can totally make longer episodes and more of them, which season 2 is in development now. They're in production now. So looking forward to that. I don't really know anything else about what's going on with the Marvel verse other than that. The Marvels is supposed to be doing reshoots right now, and I guess it's not going well, whatever that means. But Ms. Marvel apparently plays into that as well. So again, kind of a lead up into that, and Captain Marvel leading up to that. I don't know. I also have not seen Ant-Man and the Wasp, Ant-Man, the second one, but they're over on the shelf, trying to get around to them one of these days.
Who knows? Maybe one of these days when we do decide to go back, maybe we'll have to make it a thing on the show. Like, pick a movie, try to watch it like that week, and then maybe chat about it on the show. Start at the beginning, work our way through.
I like your thinking,
but not
so
right now.
The first one would be Iron Man, right? Not right now.
No.
Well, not now. We can't watch him right now.
No, I'm saying no to the first one being Iron Man. Incredible Hulk is first.
The Incredible Hulk?
Mm-hmm.
Which one is that? Oh, no.
That was
technically, according to this list, it's Captain America, the First Avenger.
Oh, if you're going
followed by Captain Marvel.
Right.
And then Iron Man, Iron Man 2, and then the Incredible Hulk. According to that's
if you're going in the, like, I was talking about like the chronological order in which they were released, not the like history.
Oh. See, I want it where they make sense.
I don't know that they'll make sense if you watch them in chronological order, but we can do it that way too. Which is fine because Disney Plus sorts that all for me. So, yeah. Peter, what else have you been watching?
Allegedly. Well, Captain America, the First Avenger, which is on the shelf over there, is first on the list. So when we get there, we're going to get the shield and get going. And is this where we hail Hydra? That's where we do that? No. The Orville. You're familiar with the Orville, right? A little bit? Tiny bit? So the Orville is...
I know of
Seth
it. I haven't ever
MacFarlane's-
seen this, though. Yeah.
Sure. Haven't seen it. The first 2 seasons were on Fox. Fox was being the normal dicks that they are. And I say that because they have had many a great series, and then they are cut short because Fox Network seems to be a bunch of dicks. So the Orville, 2 seasons on Fox, they were screwing with Seth MacFarlane, and he said, well, fine, we'll find somebody else to do it. And Hulu was like, hey, we're looking to expand our network and streaming service. We'll make it for you. All right. So it took them over 2 years of production to make the current season. And as of this week, 9 episodes have been released in season 3. I have to say, the visual effects are much better because they have a much higher budget. The storylines have been good. The last episode was 8 that we watched. 9 was released yesterday. Haven't watched it yet. But the episode was an hour and a half long, including credits. The first half of the episode, kind of a snoozer, but then it really got going. And I can appreciate that, interesting content. And the fact that they're able to create and let loose, and also the fact that there are a bunch of previous Star Trek related producers, executive producers, writers, graphic designers, consultants, etc., all working on this show with Seth MacFarlane, really give this show a feel of almost Star Trek. So I can respect that. They also take some of the storylines from Voyager, Deep Space Nine, some of the other, even Enterprise, because a lot of them worked on Enterprise as well. But have to say, season 3 has been pretty damn good. And if you have Hulu or even Disney Plus, which Howie Blues, I know you have, the Orville will be coming to Disney Plus. Hulu is part of the Disney Plus bundle. So that's what I have. So I can have ESPN to watch hockey, and then Hulu and Disney Plus come along with it, basically with the bundle. So I can watch the rest of the stuff too and get some enjoyment there. So there'll be something you'll have to catch up on one of these days on top of everything else and the millions of hours of other content you need to watch, including Star Trek Strange New Worlds. And for Lane, he wants you to still watch the Blu-ray that you have up on your shelf back there, Pacific Rim.
Just you go on to talk about the next one. I got to fix something quick.
Welcome back.
Thanks.
I didn't actually say anything.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. Next, we started a new series this week because no current new Marvel series are out. No current Star Trek series are out because Lower Decks, the animated series, will be released on August 25th. So still essentially 4 weeks out from the next season of that being released. So with the Orville being the only series out that's producing the new content and a lot of other shows going on hiatus with the end of summer break, that sort of thing, we decided to start a new show. It's been on my list for quite some time, but we finally gave it a start. The Man in the High Castle, an Amazon Prime series. Howie Blues, you're familiar with this series. You have not watched it, correct?
I have not watched it. It is based off the Philip K. Dick novel of the same name. So, and I haven't read that novel, but I'm at least familiar with the plot. I will say.
And so basically the plot backstory, with no spoilers, is that this takes place if the U.S. and the Allies lost World War II. So the U.S. and North America, for lack of a better term, has been split. So the Nazis control basically the eastern third and change of the U.S., about to the Central Plains. The Rocky Mountain area of the country is what they call the neutral zone. Interesting term. I wonder what Star Trek series they got that from. So there's that. And then the West Coast is controlled by the Imperial Army of Japan. And so there's some tension between Japan and the Nazis about control, because this takes place in the 60s. So, of course, the Axis essentially has taken over through the years, have had control of the Allied countries for now about 20 years. And just the chaos and totalitarianism that has been going on. And we're 3 episodes in, 4. I have enjoyed the series so far. My biggest complaint, which, it shouldn't even really be a complaint, because it's very hard to replicate 1960s America. That isn't actually America. It's Nazi or Japanese controlled. So you have to do a lot of chroma keying, the green screen or blue screen, graphic design. And to some degree, you can really tell. Like, I can tell. And it kind of bothers me. But I understand. So I can really look past it and enjoy the show. Very interesting. It's very cerebral in nature, makes you think what's happening, what potentially could happen next. There's a lot that goes on, and little nuances you need to pay attention to, and I recommend checking it out. The Man in the High Castle. From my understanding, there's 4 seasons, and I believe either the 4th was the last or the 5th is soon to be released and will be the last.
Yeah, it's been on my list. Check it out at some point. So I'll get to it eventually. Maybe one of these days when I don't have kids. Or at least kids living in the house. Yeah.
Yeah, good job rephrasing that, because that sounded a little sketchy at first.
It did.
Otherwise, last week, the return. I say return because even though it's a brand new show in title and network, it's essentially the return of Live PD. It's the show called On Patrol Live. It airs on Reels Network or Reels TV, REELZ, like a newsreel or perhaps a movie reel. 3 hours following America's finest, different agencies around the country, seeing what they get into, and just kind of a little social commentary of sorts from Dan Abrams, Sean Sticks Larkin, retired from Tulsa PD, and a new individual. I forget his last name, but his first name's Curtis, and he is a lieutenant with the one of the police departments that they work with. So there's that. Very good. The production value is the same from when they were rolling around with Live PD 2 years ago, pretty much, when they were canceled, and Cops was canceled, and any show of actual interest was canceled. So looking forward. Third episode aired tonight, fourth episode aired tomorrow, and I'll take a watch of those and see what kind of crazy stuff happens. On a related note, I brought up this week to somebody who was visiting me in my office about how we used to watch Cops back in the day. And we would play the "What's going to happen in this segment" game. You remember that, Howard?
Yep, I remember it fondly.
So we would watch the replays of the old episodes from a year ago, 2 years ago, 5, 10 plus years ago. Okay, what's going to happen on the next segment? Well, I think it's going to be this. I think it's going to be this. Okay. And I, for some reason, had an outstanding ability to predict what was going to happen in the next segments. Well, it turns out that Howie Blues over there figured out that I had seen all these episodes multiple times, and like a photographic memory, for some reason, can remember pretty much every episode of Cops, and said, I think this segment's going to be this. And what did it happen to be? Well, look at that. It's this. Wow. So then the game got changed, where the only time that we could play that game was on the new episodes because none of us had seen it, and that way it was fair all around.
So, Kidder, you want some controversy? Because
I always do.
that's good, because boy, there's been a lot, and I'll try and be quick because I know we're running long on some of this. Yeah, I know. So really, a couple of big things that have been controversial in the board gaming world. The first comes from a company, Kidder, that I support. And I'm a little alarmed by this, and I'm a little worried about it. Mythic Games, who have made such fine games as Solomon Kane, Mythic Battles Pantheon, and a couple others that I own, they came out in the last few weeks, and basically one of the Kickstarters they did was for a game called Darkest Dungeon, which was basically taking a video game, Darkest Dungeon, and making a board game out of it. They had to come back and basically ask the backers of that, who have already backed the game, done the pledge manager, paid their shipping, hey, guys, we need more money to actually ship the game. So they had to come back and ask people to basically contribute more, otherwise you weren't getting your game. They can't get it shipped out of China. To be fair, Mythic has in the past, where they have come up short on the shipping, have just paid and covered the shipping to a tune of, I think, throughout all their Kickstarters, they've spent $1.2 million to cover in shipping. And this time it's just too much. Now, I didn't back Darkest Dungeon, but I did back a game by them called Hell, The Last Saga, which was supposed to be in my hands June of 2021. So it's over a year late. We don't have it. And the big ruckus, at least in that crowd, is when are they going to come back and ask us for more money to cover shipping, because it's a much older game than Darkest Dungeon, and in the whole landscape. The Darkest Dungeon Kickstarter was after the Hell Kickstarter. So there's kind of a question of that. Otherwise, I'm sitting on Rainbow Six Siege, was also done by Mythic. So we'll see what happens there. There hasn't been any asks yet, but there could be. Another company that's going through the same thing is a company called Blacklist Miniatures. They did a set of miniatures, that fantasy setting, and they're running into the same problem where they're now having to beg their backers for more money in order to ship the product. And actually, theirs is even more embarrassing, Kidder. Theirs, they actually got to the United States and into a warehouse, but they can't afford to pay the warehouse. So the warehouse is holding the miniatures and not shipping them out because Blacklist Miniatures, I'm trying to remember the number that they showed. It was like $340,000 they still owed to this to the warehouse company. So yeah, so that's it. But both of those stories, Kidder, got blown out of the water this week by yet another game company by the name of Privateer Press, known for their game War Machine and Hordes, a game that's been on the market for 20-some years. They've also did Riot Quest and what's the other big one? Monster Apocalypse, a game that it's about giant kaiju fighting, like in the hit film Pacific Rim, which is, yes, Kidder, now on the shelf behind me.
Glad you found that.
Yeah, they had a big announcement this week, Kidder, and the big announcement is they are releasing the 4th edition of War Machine and Hordes. But what makes this announcement different was some of the things that came with it. It wasn't just that, hey, there's going to be a new edition and new rules. It was things like, hey, guys, for 20-some years, we have had new model releases every month. And so our product catalog is over 2,000 miniatures. So no store wants to carry it because it takes up too much space. It's hard for players to learn because you have to basically learn what 2,000 plus models do. So, hey, we're going to, not only is this a new edition, but instead of you getting to use all your old models, we're going to basically create 2 formats. One is unlimited play, where, yes, you can use all of those. However, it's not going to be as competitive or as focused on quite as much as our Prime format, which now has specific armies, and you are very limited in what you use, and not all of your old figures are going to work in Prime, which has upset a lot of people. They have also said, you know what? We can't afford to make metal miniatures anymore. It's just too pricey. We can't afford to do plastic production over in China, and because we've seen some of the problems with shipping and all of that. So they are going to go to completely 3D printed models, which we'll see. There's a lot of people upset about that. And so with any change like this, man, Kidder, my Facebook feed has been full of people being like okay with this change, some people being upset, all that. But Kidder, I had the best comment come across my Facebook feed tonight, and I have to read this to you because I think this guy put this whole scandal into terms that you can understand. So here we go. This is from a poster, Ramsey, and he puts this. I think of War Machine editions as if they were Metallica albums. MK1, so the first edition, would be Kill 'Em All. MK2 would be Master of Puppets or Ride the Lightning. MK3 would be And Justice for All. And MK4 looking like it'll be the Black Album. So that's what he put.
Don't bring that all hibbity-bibbity up in here.
Get her that. You'll love some of these follow-up comments that were made, such as this one. More like MK1 is Kill 'Em All, MK2 is Lightning, MK3 is Puppets, and MK4 is Reloaded.
Now, Reload was a good album. Cut that crap out.
Yeah, the initial poster put this. I said MK3 was Justice for All because it was good, but no bass.
Mm-hmm.
Another poster put, Mark IV so far might be Saint Anger. To which was responded, fair choice. I picked my least favorite, but Saint Anger is awful too.
If you want awful, you need to do the Lou Reed collaboration with Metallica called Lulu. That was terrible. If, in fact, I have a hard time enjoying anything with that album, the only thing that I could do is go to the edits where they take out Lou Reed, and it's just Metallica playing, and then it makes it better. And the song's only 2 minutes or 3 minutes at that point. But then you don't have some senile old guy. I'm like, are you okay? Are you passing a kidney stone? Do you have diarrhea? Or are you trying to say something?
Yeah. I'll give you one last comment on this, Kidder, and then we can move on to a different topic. And sorry, Future Howard, but I liked this comment too much to not share it. This one goes, I don't know. The MK4 movement rules seem a lot like Bob Rock's snare sound from Saint Anger. Anyway,
Bob Rock wasn't specifically behind that snare. It was a tone at the time, and Lars was experimenting a bit. So the trash can came into play. Calm down. There's worse music out there. Trust me. I hear it on Octane every day.
I'm just thinking, Kidder, that we need more board game content that is based around rating systems on Metallica albums as a way to keep you engaged in this topic.
I mean, that's probably the most engaged I've been in a board game topic ever.
Yeah. So that's it for the controversy. I'll keep you guys updated as I hear more.
Perfect. I saved you. You didn't have to sit there for all night. I just figured I'd let you awkwardly sit there for at least 10 seconds. It's all right. It's good for your posture.
Sure.
Help me help you. So, I do have some happy but yet very sad news to share that many people may already know, but legendary broadcaster Phil Parker, who I had the pleasure of working with, not only working with, but the pleasure of listening to as I grew up. He worked on K-Fire 550, the voice of the Northern Plains, broadcasting out of Bismarck, not only to 5 United States states, but also 3 Canadian provinces and across the country on iHeartRadio and KFYR.com. You can tell I used to work with him, but we had ourselves a hell of a time. So much fun, in fact, that you'd think that the Packers won the Super Bowl. I say that as somewhat of a joke because of Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode, The Attack of the Giant Spiders. It's on YouTube. Yes, the entire movie is on YouTube. Please go watch it, and then you'll understand that joke a little bit better. Packers! 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 Plus, it features some people that you might recognize from older TV shows. I digress. Phil Parker signed off and hung up the headphones today after 28 years of broadcasting on K-Fire. He started out in 1989 here in Bismarck on K-Fire and took a bit of a vacation from K-Fire in 1999 until 2004 when he made his triumphant return until January 28th. No, 29th. It hasn't been midnight yet. January 29th, 2022, when he signed off officially for the final time. So, I do have to say, had some of the greatest times in radio broadcasting with Phil, doing the live radio bits in the morning, playing off of each other, the excessive sarcasm. I mean, it's a lot like this show because Howard and I think a lot alike, and Phil and I think a lot alike, and have the same sort of humor. And so just being able to share those pieces throughout the day, it just made it fun to come into work at 4:00 in the morning, which, you know, that's not fun to get up at that time and go to work. But I have to say, it's an honor and a privilege to not only to be able to grow up listening to Phil on the radio, but then to be able to share the airwaves with a consummate professional as Phil is. And in fact, he played one of the bits that he and I is his genius. I have to say that. But we collaborated on what if the Weather Channel came out with a new series. It's not just tornado chasing. What else could you chase? Drizzle chasers. Yes, there are stages of drizzle, stages for rainbows, various other things. It was a great radio bit. And he said that it's one of his favorites. And the fact that you listen to something 5 or more years after you created it and you still laugh like the first time you heard it, you know it's good. And that one was good. It was better than the pilot car bit, but the pilot car bit was funny too. Basically, as I was leaving the radio business, we did another bit about me going off to pilot car training school so that I could adequately lead vehicles across the country. Just ridiculous. Some of those will live on for however long until they end up deleting them at kfyr.com. You can just go to the Phil Parker Show and find out some funny bits, including his sign-off today, which he told me that it was pretty tough at points, but he wrote down some bullet points as to what he wanted to talk about, and he was able to go through and get those accomplished. So we will hopefully hear in maybe a month or so, once he gets a little bit settled from the move, have him on, and then he can tell us about how the old days in radio went without this fandangled technology. You know, like compact discs and tape players. You talk about old reel-to-reels and record players and the smoky control rooms and big tubes set up and all kinds of crazy analog stuff that now essentially fits into your phone. But anyway, again, big congratulations, Phil, on making it through all those years and punishment of putting up with me as your co-host for months at a time, and going to Ballard's Resort up in Lake of the Woods country there and having a good 4th of July weekend. That was a lot of fun as well. So, from us here at Triple B, thanks for your contributions and hilarity for all these years. You will be missed on the radio as a voice of the Northern Plains. Looking forward to your next piece or pieces. He was talking about doing TikTok videos today with finger puppets. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, hopefully we can get him on the show here in the future and have some more laughs. I think there were a couple times when you got to meet Phil, if I remember correctly.
Not really. No. Except for I think there's maybe one occasion where I was out with you and he happened to be in the same venue. But yeah, no.
Oh, we will change that in the near future. The other cool thing is he went to school with the original creator of Mystery Science Theater 3000. So it's like a personal connection there to those movies and the jokes that are laid into those movies. Because Phil said they used to do that in high school where they would watch an old movie like that and they'd sit around and crack comments to the movie. And that it was kind of the start of the Mystery Science Theater shtick. So, pretty cool when you think about it. Anyway, let's move on. We're almost done with this show. Thanks for sticking with us. You can stick it to us at beerbluesbs.com. How? Buy our merch. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to us on the audio platforms. Or like us on YouTube. Please, thank you. We appreciate it. beerbluesbs.com.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Kidder, I know there's a couple of topics left on the old run sheet, but we have crossed the 2-hour mark, and it's been a good show. I don't really want to cut anything. So, Kidder, we've been talking for a while. You might as well continue the cheap plugs. Don't worry. We'll record the other stuff here shortly. I have ideas.
Okay. So, what I would have to say is that you should go to the beerbluesbs.com. I think you should do that. You know why? Well, that's because we got the merch. Sweet merch on there, like the pint glasses and the shirts and the stickers. You can even get the pictures to put on the wall there. The designs, beerbluesbs.com. They're all on there. Please visit us. We appreciate your patronage. Other than that, you can sponsor the show. We'd love for you to do that. Just give us a little bit of an email there at beerbluesbs.com. Ask about sponsoring the show because we could put your logo here or here or here and talk about your product right there on the show. Have the sponsorship to help us keep on going to the next episode or something like that. The next phase of this here thing we call the cheap plugs. We're all over the place on the audio versions like iHeartRadio, the Pandora, even Spotify, Stitcher FM, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts. It's all over the place, even IMDb, Player FM. If you have one of them there audio services, please join us. Search for us, beerbluesbs.com, or just in the search bar there, Beer Blues and BS. If you also want to like us on Facebook, that would be cool too. Facebook.com/beerbluesbs. Okay, that's about it for this here episode. Excuse me while I clear my throat. Just going to not talk like that anymore. For tonight, anyway. He's Howard Blues. I'm the man, the myth, legend, Mark Kidder. Thank you for joining us for this edition and every edition of Beer Blues and BS. We do appreciate you joining us for every episode. See you again on the next one. Of course, you got to keep your beer at least half full, or at least your glass half full, because there's free beer tomorrow. And, you know, we will catch you on down the old dusty Tuscan Highway. Have a good one. See you on the next Beer Blues and BS.
You have been listening to a UA production of Beer, Blues, and BS. If you enjoyed the show, help others find out about it by rating the show or leaving a review at your podcast listening service of choice. Thanks for listening, and may your glass never be empty. UA Productions presents A Glimpse Behind the Curtain.
Yeah. Hey, another episode in the can. A good one.
That's our good one.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff. I was sitting here looking at the time. I'm like, oh my gosh, we've crossed the 2-hour mark. You know, and what do I cut? Like, I can't think of like, hey, here's a section that was maybe a little weak, or hey, here's a good section I could take out and put in a clip show. Except for maybe this stuff here at the end, which Kidder, you see topic 8, grill off. There's been some words back and forth, at least in the old YouTube comments, about possibly a grill off between you and the local geek.
Yeah, I saw that, him stepping up. Think this is, trying to beat Bobby Flay or something? I blow that guy out of the water. Come on now. I'm all for it. And I mean, there's good food all around. What's on the menu? What are the challenges? What are the games? What could be played? I don't know.
Yeah. So I think, Kidder, and we'll make the invite. I think the local geek needs to return to the show, and we need to establish some rules, what this is going to be, what this is going to look like, and have a special edition of Beer, Blues, and BS of Cooking with Kidder versus Grilling with the Geek. And find out whose cooking is supreme.
Do you smell what the Kidder's cooking?
No, it's kind of allergy season. I'm all stuffed up, but yeah.
That's good, because if you smelled something burning, you might be having a stroke, because I'm not cooking anything. And I don't like burning things either, so that's another piece.